The station lights hummed faintly above me, that dull white glow that never quite reached the corners of the habitation ring. Out here on the edge of colonized space, everything felt temporary, patched together steel, recycled air, and the kind of silence that reminded you Earth was a very, very long way behind. I was just another maintenance officer, assigned to keep the station's power conduits from frying themselves. Nothing glamorous. Nothing heroic. But sometimes the smallest assignments are where the galaxy decides to throw the biggest surprises. And tonight, well, tonight I found something I shouldn't have. It started with a flicker. Power drain in subsection C7. Normally, I just log it, send a drone, and call it a day. But the system flagged something unusual: organic interference. That's not normal. Machinery doesn't leak biologically. So I strapped on my toolkit, grabbed a scanner, and went down there myself. The corridor was dark, ventilation humming like a distant heartbeat. My boots echoed against the grates as I followed the signal. The scanner chirped softly, leading me toward one of the abandoned storage bays. The door was sealed. Not locked, just sealed. Manual override took some elbow grease, but the panel finally hissed open with a metallic groan. Inside, shadows pooled thick around scattered crates. Dust floated in the air, dancing in the shaft of light spilling from the hallway. I adjusted my visor lamp and froze. There, crouched behind the crates, was her. At first I thought it was just some refugee kid, maybe someone stowing away from the last trade shuttle. But the longer I looked, the more wrong it seemed. Skin, not human. Pale blue, faintly glowing, as if veins of light were running beneath the surface. Her eyes caught my lamp and burned violet, too sharp, too luminous. Tattoos, or maybe bioluminescent markings, spiraled across her arms, shifting ever so slightly with her breath. And she was staring at me like a cornered predator. I took a step back, my heart hammering. "Easy!" I raised my hands, voice low. "I'm not here to hurt you." For a moment, silence. Then she moved. Fluid, precise, like every motion had been calculated. A flash of silver caught my eye. Something small, a blade or tool, clutched in her hand. I swallowed hard. "You're not supposed to be here, are you?" Her lips parted, revealing teeth just a little too sharp for comfort. But when she spoke, her voice was soft, melodic, with an accent I didn't recognize. "You saw me." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, I guess I did." Her gaze flicked to the scanner still buzzing in my hand. A curse slipped from her mouth in some alien tongue. She stepped forward, light from her skin shimmering faintly in the shadows. "You cannot tell anyone," she said. Not a plea. A command. My throat was dry. "You're one of them, aren't you? The rumors about off-worlders slipping past the patrol lines." She didn't answer directly. Instead, she tilted her head, studying me as though weighing options, whether to trust me, or to end me right there in that forgotten bay. I tried to hold steady, but every instinct screamed at me to run. Yet something in her expression stopped me. Not cruelty. Not malice. Something else. Fear. "I don't want trouble," I said carefully. "But hiding here, if the station authorities find you, they'll—" I hesitated. Everyone knew what happened to illegals. Quarantine. Dissection. A quiet vanishing, filed under security measures. Her markings dimmed, like a heartbeat slowing. "Then you will keep my secret." I almost laughed, nervous, sharp. "Just like that. I stumble into this, and you expect me to." Her eyes locked onto mine, violet fire boring into me. And then she said it, words that chilled and intrigued me all at once. "If you keep my identity hidden, I will warm your bed." Silence. I blinked, sure I'd misheard. "Wait. What did you just—" Her chin lifted with a strange dignity, even in that vulnerable glow. "Among my people, such an offer is binding. A gift of trust and survival." My mind raced. She wasn't just asking me to keep quiet, she was bargaining with something primal, something human enough to understand yet alien enough to unsettle me. I should have walked away, reported her, pretended none of this happened. But instead, I found myself staring at those violet eyes, my voice barely a whisper. "Who are you?" Her tattoos pulsed faintly, a ripple of blue light across her skin. She stepped closer, so close I could feel the faint warmth radiating from her body in the chill of the storage bay. "My name," she said softly, "is Cilyara. And if you reveal me, I will die." And in that moment, I knew my life had just veered off course. Because now I wasn't just a maintenance officer on some forgotten station. I was the only thing standing between this alien girl and a death sentence. And maybe, just maybe, between myself and a future I couldn't yet imagine. Cilyara didn't move for a long time after she gave me her name. She just stood there, glowing faintly, watching me like one wrong word would collapse the fragile balance between us. I wasn't sure if my chest was pounding because I was terrified, or because I just stumbled into the kind of secret people died for. Finally, I broke the silence. "All right, Cilyara. You're not supposed to be here. So tell me, why are you?" Her violet eyes flicked toward the closed bay door, as if checking for listeners. Then she turned back to me, and for the first time, I saw the weight in her expression. Not predator's focus, not cold command. Just exhaustion. "I was smuggled aboard," she said quietly. "Your station is a waypoint. I was meant to transfer onto a vessel bound for neutral space." "Smuggled?" I frowned. "So you're a, what, fugitive?" Her gaze hardened. "A refugee." I shifted uncomfortably. Out here on the rim, we'd heard whispers of the war zones, places where alien factions tore each other apart, and humans weren't welcome in the middle. But the idea of one of them hiding here, under my nose in my station, it was almost too much to process. She must have read my hesitation, because her glow dimmed further, her voice softening. "My people were hunted. My house destroyed. I ran because survival demanded it. And if the authorities here find me, I will vanish into a cell before anyone learns why." The words hit me harder than I expected. I'd seen people run before. Pirates. Deserters. But this was different. This wasn't cowardice, it was desperation. "Why hide here though?" I asked, scanning the cramped storage bay. "This is the worst place. Too many patrols. Too many cameras." I had no choice. Her markings shifted faintly, rippling with the rhythm of her breath. "The smuggler abandoned me before the next exchange. I have been here for 4 cycles of your station's clock." I did the math. 4 days. She'd been living in shadows for nearly a week. No supplies. No allies. Just cold steel and silence. I shook my head slowly. "You realize if security sweeps this sector, they'll find you in minutes." "I know." Her voice was a whisper. "That is why I chose you." "Chose me?" My voice cracked. "What do you mean, you chose me?" Her eyes locked onto mine again, those unearthly irises glowing faintly. "I've watched you." That sent a chill down my spine. Wait. You've been following me." "Not following. Observing." Her tone was calm, matter of fact. "You walk the corridors alone. You do not speak to the others except when required. You carry silence like a shield. And I saw no cruelty in you." I opened my mouth, then closed it again, unsure how to answer. Nobody had ever described me that way before. Not that they were wrong. Life out here didn't leave much room for friends. Cilyara took a step closer, the glow of her tattoos brushing the shadows back just enough to paint her face in eerie, beautiful light. "You can hide me. You can protect me. And in return," her voice lowered, deliberate, almost ritualistic, "I will share myself with you." The words hung in the air, heavier this time. I knew what she was offering wasn't just about warmth or survival. It was trust. A bond. Something her people must have treated as sacred, but that sounded scandalous in human ears. I swallowed. You don't have to do that. Her head tilted, markings shifting like waves. Among my kind, an oath must be sealed with action. If you keep my secret, I must offer you something that binds me to you. Something undeniable. And that's warming my bed? I asked, half incredulous, half nervous. A flicker of amusement touched her lips, the closest thing to a smile I'd seen yet. Your phrase is crude, but accurate enough. I rubbed the back of my neck, exhaling sharply. You're insane. You realize that, right? If someone sees you with me, we're both done. Then we will not be seen. She stepped even closer, and I could feel that faint, strange warmth radiating from her again. Not heat exactly, but something deeper. Like standing near the heart of a reactor. Dangerous, magnetic, impossible to ignore. I forced myself to focus. Look. I don't know what kind of oath you're talking about, but if I hide you, it won't be for favors. It'll be because no one deserves to be dragged away like some experiment. Her expression softened, the markings on her skin glowing faintly brighter. Then you are even more rare than I believed. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The hum of the ventilation filled the silence, the station's steel bones creaking faintly around us. Finally, I said, all right. I'll help you. But you need to tell me everything. What you're running from. Who's after you? If I'm risking my neck, I need to know the truth. Her eyes closed briefly, as if gathering strength. When they opened, the light in them was steady, resolute. My name is Silyara of the House Taylen, she began, her voice carrying the weight of ritual. My people are called the Sarai. Once, we held 3 worlds. Now, those worlds burn. Another race, the Vair, came for us with fire and chains. They destroyed our fleets, shattered our families, and demanded submission. I listened, heart tightening as her words painted pictures of battles I'd only read about in passing. Out here on the rim, the wars were distant news. Hearing it from her lips was different. Real. My house was among the last to resist, she continued, voice low. We sheltered refugees. We fought until the void itself turned against us. And then, we fell. I fled with others, but the convoy was ambushed. Only I survived. Her gaze met mine, raw and unflinching. If they find me, they will kill me. Or worse, parade me as proof that no Sarai remained free. The silence that followed was suffocating. I didn't know what to say. What could I say? Finally, I muttered. You shouldn't even exist here. If the station knew. They cannot. Her voice sharpened. Not until I am beyond their reach. I stared at her, the weight of her story pressing against me. This wasn't just about me keeping a secret. This was about a hunted people, a shattered civilization, condensed into the fragile glow of one girl hiding in a steel tomb. And somehow, I was the one she'd chosen to trust. My throat felt tight. All right. Then we need a plan. You can't stay here in a storage bay. Too exposed. Too risky. Her eyes softened, the faintest flicker of relief crossing her features. You would move me? I'll figure something out. I glanced at the door, already calculating blind spots in the patrol routes, unused compartments, places only maintenance crews knew about. But if I do this, you need to listen to me. One mistake, one slip, and we're both finished. She inclined her head slowly, almost regally. Then I am yours to command. The way she said it sent a strange shiver down my spine, not submission exactly, but something deeper. A vow. I nodded, forcing myself to keep steady. Good. Then first things first, we get you out of here before the next sweep. As I turned to the door, I felt her presence behind me, quiet but undeniable, her glow brushing the edges of the shadows. And for the first time, the silence of the station didn't feel quite so empty. I hadn't expected hiding her to be easy. But I also hadn't expected the station to suddenly feel like it was conspiring against me. Every corridor looked sharper now. Every security sweep felt closer. I heard every boot step echoing off the metal walls like a warning bell. Silyara moved quietly behind me, her glow suppressed beneath a ragged cloak I'd scrounged from supply. She followed my instructions exactly. Head down, pace steady, don't meet anyone's eyes. To anyone passing by, she might look like a tired crew member. But if someone saw too closely, if they caught the flicker of violet eyes, or the faint shimmer of her markings, it would all be over. I guided her through the maintenance corridors, the arteries of the station most crew never touched. Narrow, dark, filled with pipes and cables. My territory. We ducked into one of the unused conduits and stopped to breathe. Her eyes scanned the cramped passage. This place, it smells of iron and dust. Better than patrol drones, I muttered, adjusting the scanner on my wrist. If we cut through here, we'll reach the sub-habitat decks. I know a compartment no one uses. She tilted her head, studying me again with that unnerving intensity. You risk much for me. I shrugged, though my chest tightened at her words. Guess I'm a bad judge of self-preservation. Her lips curved faintly, not quite a smile, but close enough to stir something in me. We moved again, slipping through the hidden guts of the station until finally, I guided her into a storage compartment I knew well. Deck H14, long decommissioned after a systems reroute. The hatch groaned open, revealing a small space cluttered with old consoles and dust-choked crates. Not much, I admitted. But no one comes here. You'll be safe. Silyara stepped inside slowly, fingertips brushing the wall as if feeling its pulse. Safe, she repeated softly, as if testing the word. I cleared my throat, suddenly aware of the silence pressing around us. You'll need food. I'll bring rations when I can. Water's easy, I can patch a line from the recyclers. She turned, eyes glowing faintly in the dim. You think like one who has hidden before. I laughed quietly. I've hidden my fair share of things. Not exactly refugees, though. Her gaze lingered, searching me. And yet, you do not ask what I can offer in return. Even after I spoke the vow of warmth, I felt heat rise in my face. I told you. That's not why I'm helping. For a moment, her expression softened, almost fragile. Then perhaps, that is why you are worth trusting. The air between us tightened, charged. I looked away, busying myself with clearing a space among the crates. But I could feel her presence, warm and luminous, like a second heartbeat filling the shadows. That night, or whatever passed for night on the station, I returned to my own quarters restless. Sleep didn't come easy. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her staring back at me, violet and unyielding. But there was no time to dwell. The next day, alarms rang through the decks. Security sweeps, full scale. Word spread fast. Contraband discovered on a smuggler's ship, whispers of alien traces. My stomach sank. They were getting closer. I slipped away during my shift, heart pounding, and reached H14. She was waiting, eyes sharp, body tense like a coiled spring. She already knew. They search for me, she said. Yeah. I scanned the compartment. They're tightening patrols. It's only a matter of time before they sweep this sector. She stepped closer, her markings glowing faintly with agitation. Then I must leave. Find another vessel. Another hiding place. You won't make it. My voice was sharper than I meant. Not with drones everywhere. You'll be flagged before you reach the docks. Her chin lifted, defiance flashing in her eyes. Then what do you suggest, human? That I stay here until they drag me out? I held her gaze, anger burning at my helplessness. I suggest you trust me. You said you chose me for a reason. Let me figure this out. For a long moment, silence. Then her shoulders eased slightly, the glow of her tattoos dimming like a breath released. I will trust you. The words carried more weight than I expected. Over the next 2 cycles, tension wound tighter. I brought her supplies, each trip more dangerous than the last. Patrol drones lingered in corridors they'd ignored before. Officers stopped me for random checks, their questions lingering too long. Every moment felt like borrowed time. But in that pressure, something else grew. We talked. In hushed tones, when the silence pressed too heavily. She told me of her homeworld, oceans that glowed under twin moons, cities built of crystal that sang when the wind touched them. She spoke of her people's rituals, how the bioluminescent markings were not just decoration, but living records, patterns inherited and passed on like family bloodlines. I listened, enthralled. And when I spoke of Earth, of oceans gray with storms, of mountains sharp against cold skies, she listened with the same reverence. One night, as I adjusted the recycler line I'd rigged for her, I felt her hand brush mine. Warm, delicate, yet firm. I looked up. Her violet eyes were fixed on me, steady, unreadable. "You have risked everything for me," she said softly. I tried to laugh it off. "Don't make it sound noble. I'm just too stubborn to let them win." Her lips curved faintly. "That stubbornness. It may be the only reason I still live." Her hand lingered on mine longer than it needed to. The warmth spread up my arm, through my chest, until I had to look away or risk saying something I couldn't take back. But peace never lasts. On the 5th day, as I made my way to H14, my scanner beeped, unfamiliar signatures ahead. My blood ran cold. Security. 2 officers, scanning compartments. I ducked into the shadows, cursing under my breath. They were close, too close. If they opened H14, she was finished. My mind raced. I had seconds. I could create a distraction, maybe trip a conduit downstream. But that would only buy minutes. Then I heard footsteps behind me. Light. Silent. Silyara. She'd left the compartment, drawn by the sound of boots in the corridor. Her eyes met mine, wide, glowing faintly in the dark. I hissed, "Go back." But she shook her head. "If they find me, you will be taken too." My throat tightened. "I don't care. Get back inside." Her gaze burned into me, torn between fear and resolve. Then, slowly, she whispered, "Then we run together." And before I could argue, the hatch down the corridor hissed open. "Compartment sweep, stand aside." The officers' voices rang out, their scanners flashing. Silyara reached for my hand. Warm. Steady. Unyielding. And I realized, the time for hiding was over. The corridor lit up red as the alarms triggered. The 2 security officers raised their scanners, beams sweeping the air, closing in on the faint signature that was Silyara's glow. Unidentified bioform detected. Step away. I didn't think. I moved. My hand grabbed Silyara's wrist, pulling her into the side conduit just as a burst of energy fire scorched the wall where we'd been standing. Sparks rained down, the air filling with the acrid stench of burnt alloy. "Run!" I shouted. We tore through the narrow maintenance passage, boots pounding against the grated floor. Behind us, shouts echoed, boots clattering, drones whirring awake. The entire deck was alive now, the hunt spreading like wildfire. Silyara moved with inhuman grace, her body weaving through the tight corners with fluid speed, her tattoos flickering with each heartbeat. I was slower, heavier, but adrenaline drove me forward. We burst into a junction, and I slammed my fist against the emergency panel, forcing a bulkhead door to seal behind us. The clang echoed like a drumbeat. Temporary reprieve. Chest heaving, I leaned against the wall. "They'll lock down the whole sector. We need to reach the docks." Her eyes blazed in the dim, fierce yet resolute. "If they catch us." "They won't." My voice was sharp, almost desperate. "I didn't drag you this far to hand you over now." For a moment, she just stared at me. Then she reached up, her fingers brushing my cheek. Gentle. Warm. A touch meant for goodbye. "If we die here, human," she whispered, "I am glad it was with you." I swallowed hard, throat burning, but forced myself to keep moving. "We're not dying. Not today." The next 20 minutes were a blur of motion and steel. We ducked patrols, rerouted power conduits to stall drones, crawled through shafts that hadn't been touched since the station's construction. Every turn felt like it would be our last. But finally, we reached the docks. Through the viewport, ships loomed in the void. Freighters. Shuttles. And there, on the far end, a cargo hauler preparing for departure. Unregistered, by the looks of it. Perfect. We make it there, I said, pointing. They won't check manifests until we're light years out. But even as the words left my lips, klaxons blared. The docking bay doors slid open behind us, security pouring in like a flood of armored steel. No more hiding. No more running. I grabbed a discarded pipe from the floor, knuckles white around the metal. Pathetic weapon, but better than nothing. Go, I told her, forcing steel into my voice. Run for that ship. I'll buy you time. Her eyes widened. No. Do it, Silyara. I shouted. This is your chance. She stepped forward instead, standing beside me, her tattoos flaring like a constellation of light. I swore an oath to you. I will not leave you. My chest clenched. Damn it. She meant it. The security line advanced, weapons raised. Orders barked. And then I realized something. They weren't firing. Not yet. They wanted her alive. Proof of their catch. A spark of reckless human defiance ignited in me. If they wanted her alive, they wouldn't risk killing me either, not if I made myself her shield. I raised the pipe high, shouting across the bay, my voice cracking but defiant. You want her? You'll have to go through me. The lead officer hesitated. Just long enough. Silyara's hand clasped mine, and suddenly her tattoos blazed brighter than ever, flooding the dock with light. The security team staggered, blinded, disoriented by the surge of bioluminescence. Move! She cried. Together, we sprinted, weaving through the chaos as energy bolts sizzled past. The cargo hauler's ramp loomed closer, its engines rumbling to life. I shoved her up first, then threw myself aboard just as the hatch sealed shut. The ship lurched, engines roaring. Through the viewport, the station shrank, its lights fading into the endless dark. We'd escaped. Somehow. Silence fell inside the cargo bay, broken only by the distant thrum of engines. I collapsed against a crate, lungs burning. Silyara knelt beside me, her hand pressing against my chest, feeling the frantic rhythm of my heartbeat. You are mad, she whispered. But her lips curved faintly, that rare, almost smile. Mad, and human. I laughed hoarsely, the sound half broken. Yeah. Guess that's what we do best. Her eyes softened, glowing violet in the dim. Then perhaps, there is hope for me after all. For a moment, the war, the pursuit, the fear, all of it faded. It was just her and me, alone in the dark, alive when we shouldn't be. I thought of the vow she had made, of the warmth she had offered as a bond. And for the first time, I realized it wasn't about bargains or survival anymore. It was about trust. About choosing each other against impossible odds. I reached for her hand, holding it firmly. We'll figure it out. Together. Her tattoos pulsed softly in reply, a rhythm like a heartbeat. And in that moment, I understood, humanity wasn't just grit or defiance. It was this, the refusal to let go, even when the galaxy itself said you should. We didn't know where the freighter was going. We didn't know who would be waiting when it arrived. But we were free, for now. And for the first time since I'd stepped onto that rusting station, I felt alive. Because I hadn't just discovered an alien girl's identity. I'd discovered a reason to fight.